analysis. I think I got about 10 submissions. Thanks, guys. I got submissions from Bolu Omosei. I think he was the first person to submit. I got from Fadairo, sorry, from Ujungwa, Madam Ujungwa, yeah. I see you. Then Fadairo Ayola. I got from Oyinye Oyaga. Philip Ayo. Oyinye Ohayaga. Okay, you sent your quiz in twice. Then Udo Buane, so I see you. Yaji Timothy, they came in briefly, doctor, and Philip addition. Okay, so let's take some minutes to review the submissions. We'll just do a deep dive before we go into today's session. So let me go through someone's submission. It says the first is differentiate between business analysis, product management, and project management. Now, the person here says business analysis involves the improvement of organizational processes, products, services, and systems through the conduct of research and analysis in order to come up with solutions to business problems. So that's fine. Product management is the execution of plans to make sure the product best meets its financial and strategic goals. Then project management is the use of specific knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to deliver something of value to people through unique product, service, or results. All projects have starting points and conclusion. Okay, so I'll just speak to this a bit. Now, what I expected of you is to compare the three of them to make some sort of comparison. Let's see how these three fields differ in practice, in reality. So like I said last week, someone who does business analysis work is someone who recommends solutions. You don't necessarily implement solutions. Somebody says involves the improvement of organizational processes. Yes, you can do that by recommending solutions. So it's important that we understand that if you are doing business analysis work, regardless of what you're called, software engineer, data scientist, GM, whatever it is you're called, you're recommending solutions. You're not implementing solutions, right? You're recommending solutions. So you are carrying out research, you sell research, you are interviewing people, you are gathering insights, requirement synthesis as well, data requirements, analyze requirements, validate requirements, but you're essentially recommending solutions. Now, product management is of class. You don't execute, so to speak. Now, the field that focuses more on execution is project management. Product is the what, like I said last week, while the project is the how, the what and the how. So of course, I'm aware that in industry, people, you see some job postings on the internet, and somebody says they're looking for a product manager, someone to lead operations in the business. Ideally, if you are a product manager, you are more focused on the what. It's the project manager who focuses on the how. So, and I'm sure if you go on the internet, you see many dissenting opinions concerning this. But what I would say is the internet is filled with a variety of information. Some useless, some useful. So it's important for us to know the key differences between these three definitions. So if you are a project manager, you are involved in implementing the solution. So like this person rightly said, project management uses specific knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to deliver something of value. So if you are a project manager, you are implementing the solution. So as a business analyst, you recommend solutions. As a product manager, you are involved in defining the what, defining the solution. And as a project manager, you implement the solution. So I intend that you just speak to it briefly, not necessarily define them line by line. Then the second question is, in what department will the business analyst function? So this person says in the IT department. It's not entirely wrong, but let's refer to a slide from last week. I think it would, just to jog your memories. It's the slide from last week where I defined what business analysts are, who they are, and what they do. Okay, I think this. Can you all see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
Say you can. Okay, so look at this slide, and I'm trying to speak to the second question, which asks what department does a business analyst work. So I said here that a business analyst is anyone that does business analysis work. Anyone that performs the functions of business analyst, regardless of what they are called. So it means that you can be in IT and be a business analyst. You can be in engineering, you can be in research, you can be in sales, you can be in finance. So it's regardless of what you are called and the department. So I asked that question. It's somewhat a cheap question. So then you can function in any department in an organization. So just had to speak to that so that we have a clearer perspective. Then Ujunwa, so you also see your submission, business analyst. So please say. I didn't ask that you differentiate between business analytics. I said business analysis. So these are two different things. In the next class, we'll do a deep dive and we'll differentiate between data science, data analysis, business analytics, product management, and project management. So I see that some of you mix this up. I wasn't asking for you to define what business analytics is, but what business analysis is. Analysis, analytics, that's two different things. In fact, two very widely different. So we speak more to this next Saturday. It's in the plan already. Then I'm looking at Father Eroa, your last submission. I just take some time to go through this so we can learn from other people's submissions. So business analysis. Okay, yes, this is good. So Ayola Father Eroa differentiate between a product and a project. And it says a product is a good. Now, you see this, it's the what? It's a good, a service, platform, application, system that is created, maintained, and supported by solving problems. Now, this is good actually. I think I will share this with the team, to the class. Pardon me. A product is a good, it's the what. And I'm happy that we have this here. Ayola, are you in the class? Let's see if Ayola is in the class. Is Ayola in this class? This is a wonderful submission. Ayola in the class. I'm going to check quickly. Okay, I don't see you here. So it's fine. I will share this submission with everybody later on. I like this one. So Ayola differentiate between the product and the project, and it does that pretty well. So on the other hand, a project is a temporary endeavor. Now, the word temporary here means that it has a starting point and a conclusion. It starts and ends. So the project can last forever. Of course, I understand that in a country like Nigeria, where it's called you can use project, but ideally, a project has a beginning and an end, not the kind of project that we run in Nigeria. So it says a project is a temporary endeavor that is undertaken to create a unique product or service. Projects are usually carried out by a project team. So I think this is quite lovely. I will share with the class later on. And then move on to another submission. Thank you, Father Eroa. Then Onyinye Ohayaga. Sorry if I didn't get that mention right. I think it might be Ohayaha. Onyinye Ohayaha. Okay, so I'm looking at submission now. Coming on. Business analysts are responsible for gathering technical specifications to enable the product to be created. So let me quickly speak to this. Now, a business analyst can gather technical information but you can also gather non-technical information. And like I've said before, you can be an engineer and be a business analyst. So this definition seems to assume that you have to be a technical person to be a business analyst, and it's not. Okay, guys, can you all hear me?
Your voice, your voice.
Hello, talk to
Yeah,
me. Can you
you.
hear me? Okay. So I was reviewing on here or higher submission, and where she or he says business analysts are responsible for gathering technical specifications to enable the product to be created. They essentially do the heavy lifting to determine the how of a solution from a user perspective. They mainly ask questions around internal business challenges that can have technical restraints on the project and find actions that will lead to solutions. So all these submissions are partially correct, but I like for us to not lose to not lose focus. The application. Business analyst works in enterprise, works before a project, within a project, after a project. This definition here also suggests that you work within a project, which is fine, right? But you don't only work on projects. You work before the project starts, when it starts, and after it's concluded. We'll do a deeper dive in the coming weeks when we talk about perspectives. So I think we've 15 minutes. Let's take one more. This is from Philip Ayo. Uh, sorry. Give me 1 minute. Let me change my internet connection. Okay, guys, thank you for holding on. So I think we should just move on to let's move on to what we have for today. And today we are focusing on a case study. So my colleague, Mr. Kingsley, has done justice to knowledge areas today. I want us to look at a particular case study. I hope you have all taken your time to read. I shared it with everybody last weekend. So this is a case study, canteen ordering system. Let me pull it up quickly so we can review together. Canteen ordering system, courtesy of Simply Learn. This case was called from Simply Learn, so we are not the original owners. Can you see my screen now, everyone?
No.
Okay, coming up. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes. Can see
Yes,
it now.
we can.
So this is a case study I shared with everybody last week. I hope you've taken our time to go through it. So it's about an FMCG company headquartered in London, Unilever, and they have issues with employee effectiveness. We've got issues with food wastage, and all that. It's a very lengthy case study. So let's go to the questions that we're required to answer in this case. So project task. Now, the first thing we have to do is to identify stakeholders. So create a list of stakeholders as thoughts, investment analysis requirements, classification schema. So let's refer to that. Create a list of stakeholders. So can anyone here uh, identify some stakeholders in this scenario? So this company, the staff spend up to an hour having lunch daily, and they have 1,500 members of staff. That can only take 150 people. I'm just paraphrasing, 150 people, and it takes 30 minutes for each batch of people to finish eating. So we found that everybody spends about 60 minutes, but the business is 60 minutes in short to food every day. So they're looking at changing this. We've contracted you as a business analyst or product strategist to help them gather requirements and to help them drive to recommend solutions. So the first task is to identify stakeholders. So can anybody here tell me just list stakeholders that you know from your understanding of the material. First stakeholders.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, sir.
Uh, the first stakeholder there is the management.
Is what?
The management. The management.
Management.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any other stakeholder?
Yes. Good afternoon, sir. Yes, we have the staff.
Members of staff. Okay.
Staff members of staff. The restaurant staff there. Who that runs the
Okay.
restaurant? Mm.
Okay. Anybody else wants to?
The IT department too. The people that want to use the Java, that want to do the programming. The IT.
IT department. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So there's a solution template that I'll project now, and we can run through them one by one. So this is a case, and let me say this before we go on. In the real world, you most likely not be left to do this alone. So, like I was saying last week, in the real world, in industry, uh, usually there are more than one person doing this analysis work. Maybe a team of 10 people. So you have somebody the GM, you have an operations manager, you have a subject matter expert, you have a programmer. You all at some point do business analysis work. So it may not be ideal to say that the GM or the HOD is business analyst. So this is just a scenario, this is a case study. It may not apply verbatim in the real world, because in the real world, you most likely not be required to do all of this alone. Probably working with the team. It might get, might be instructed to handle stakeholder engagement with the Mr. Timothy, can you engage stakeholders and get requirements from them? While somebody else is asked to speak with the IT guys, somebody else is asked to draw out a design for implementation. All of that. So in the real world, it will not. You will most likely not be the one to do all of this. Yeah, but you'll be part of the team that does. But this scenario seems to assume that one business analyst does everything end to end. So let me project a solution template. Let's see how to approach the solution. Okay, so can you see my screen now? This is the solution template. The first task is to identify stakeholders. So there's a table here. We have actor on one side, and we have what they can do on the software on the other side. So the first stakeholder we have is the employee or the customer, of course. Now, so we have to mention the things that the employee can do. Number one, employees should be able to access the software regardless of the location. Now, this is critical. Don't forget that what the company does today is you get to work, when it's 11 a.m., when it's noon, everybody leaves their desk, 1,500 members of staff, and they proceed to a canteen that only seats 150 at a time. So now the software should allow employees access anywhere. So if from your home, you can wake up 2 a.m. and say, I will eat about tomorrow. I want to eat rice tomorrow. You can place an order. The employee should be able to access the software with the staff login details. So it means that it can easily track footprints. Then the third, employee should be able to see the menu and place an order. The fourth, should be able to edit, modify the orders as many times as possible before they check out. Then the second stakeholder is the canteen manager. So we mentioned the things that they should be able to do. So typically, this is what happens typically when you're listing stakeholders. And you can also apply the stakeholder engagement matrix that I taught you with that, where you are able to determine the ones that have highest influence and interest. So don't forget the influence interest matrix. Some stakeholders have very high influence but very low interest. Some have very high influence, very high interest. So you can also use that to dimension and prioritize stakeholder needs. So first stakeholder is the canteen manager, and there are 4 things we have listed that he should be able to do. He or she should be able to see orders placed individually and collectively, which means the canteen manager should be able to say, okay, so there are 20 orders, and this will amount to 100 plates of rice, 1,000 spoons of something else. So you should be able to see orders that have been placed individually and collectively. You should be able to update the menu. Now, one of the problems that was identified is people come to the canteen today and they don't find the dish at once. And many times when the canteen predicts and say, okay, let's make more of dish A today, it ends up in waste. So what this hopes to achieve is the menu will be updated continually. So once they are out on rice, you will be able to place an order for rice. Then number 3, canteen manager should be able to mark orders as fulfilled. Number 4, you should be able to share confirmed orders with the chef and the kitchen team. The delivery boy is also a stakeholder. Don't forget, as against the system of having the staff come to the canteen. Now they want to make use of a delivery boy, somebody who would log on to the platform, pick up the orders from the kitchen, take it to the desk, and mark the order as closed. So delivery should be able to see orders processed and ready for pickup. You should be able to update order status as closed, recipients not on seat or returned. We have a payroll system is also a major stakeholder. Don't forget that from the high-level business requirements, management wants the payment for food deducted from source, which means that the payroll system, the program will be configured in a way that all the payments they receive generated for food for every single month is deducted from source, from staff salaries. So payroll system should be able to access cumulative number of meals ordered by each employee and the total cost. Now, so you're seeing that, as somebody has said in the submission, the business analyst does the heavy lifting. He or she synthesizes the requirements and comes up with recommended solutions. So look at the payroll system, for instance. This automatically eliminates having to stay on the line to pay cash. It eliminates having to track invoices. So once you place an order, the invoice comes to your mailbox automatically. At the end of the month, it sums up all the invoices, forwards that to finance, and get taken from slightly from source. Then management, like somebody mentioned, is also a stakeholder. Now they have their own requirements. They're saying you should be able to see cumulative orders placed versus orders closed versus amounts generated periodically. We want to see percentage wastage due to failed orders periodically. We want to show revenue generated per day on all closed orders. We want to be able to forecast order forecasting based on historical information. So it means that, so can we even forecast with 70-80% degree of certainty that a particular dish will get requested for on a Thursday, say Thursday on a Friday. So they want to be able to forecast meal preferences based on data, historical data. Then determine percentage of users in measure of satisfaction. Highlight most popular dishes per time. So these are things that these are not all the stakeholders. So this is just a solution template. You can think about more. For instance, I think that the IT department is also a stakeholder, and and they're also a stakeholder. And all of their requirements competencies in Java, but they must engage with their competence in Java, which is the language of. So I like to refresh the minds of certain concepts before we go on, help you understand the case study better. Now, identify the problem statement in this system. Now, as a business analyst, one of the things you'll be doing, in fact, your core duty will be to articulate problem. So a lot of times companies say we have a problem, and they simply say things like we are losing money. Customers are not buying our products. We're getting returns, low returns. It's your job as a business analyst to articulate the problem, to define and articulate the problem. So what you're asking here is identify the problem statements, but in essence, they're saying you need to articulate the problem. So do your analysis and hit the detail on the head. So let's see how the problem is articulated here. So it says here you can mention why we need this canteen system for both the canteen and the customer. Now, how do you define the problem and the solution? So we have a problem of efficiency. The business loses 1 hour every day on each employee to food. That's a major problem. reduces canteen manpower. So the business now have to, they have to employ waiters, to wait tables, 150 tables, for, of course, for 150 people. Then they need to have chefs, a lot of chefs. They needed to buy food stuff on short notice. Then there was so much waste. They were losing money now. So these are the things that defines the problem. So you need able to articulate the problem points to say, number one, we are losing money as a business. We need to increase efficiency. Number two, we're using money to canteen manpower. We need to reduce efficiency, increase efficiency. Number three, we need to have easy accessibility to order and flexible access to canteen service. So it means that you don't have to come all the way to the canteen to get food. You can stay here, you can be in your meeting, you can be at your desk and place an order and get food delivered to you. So before we go on with the case, I'd like for us to review some concepts I think would come in handy now. Now, so I said there are some key tools that we need to review. The first is requirement synthesis. Now, let me say this. So what you'll be doing as a business analyst in the real world is actually what I call requirement synthesis. As business analyst, what you do is you trade information, you conduct interviews, you do research, document analysis, mind mapping, brainstorming, you do requirement synthesis. So you elicit requirements. I believe Mr. Infantry talked to that. You analyze requirements, you validate requirements, you store requirements, you communicate requirements, and you track requirements. Now, it's a very big deal, very big deal. So requirement synthesis is perhaps the most important skill that a business analyst will require to deliver on the job. Now, I will speak to needs and solution, requirements and design, then exploring the thin line between requirements and designs. There's a thin line between requirements and designs. We explore it in a bit. So let's go to the next slide. Now, this is where I define, of course, over again, needs, solutions, requirements, and designs. Now, I have here that needs is a problem or opportunity to be addressed. Like I said last week, it's a problem or opportunity to be addressed. Now, what's the solution? A specific way of addressing the need. Then requirements. And the requirement focuses on the need. So the requirement is the usable representation of a need. And I see here that it's a well-articulated set of criteria, not set of criteria, set of criteria that should address the need. So a well-articulated set of criteria that should address the need. These are requirements. Now you see designs. Focus is on solution, yeah? It's a usable representation of the solution. But I say it's a well-articulated, often diagrammatic presentation of how a need should be addressed. Now, as you advance in BA work, you find that there's a thin line between requirements and designs. So that the requirements are the things and the criteria that have to be fulfilled for a need to be met. Yeah? These are requirements. But the designs also is like a presentation of the requirements that have to be fulfilled to meet a need. So you see that there's a very thin line between requirements and designs here. And this is something we encounter every day as you know, in your sojourn as business analyst. Every day you get a requirement and it can get confusing, I tell you. So you're engaging stakeholders, of course, conducting interviews, you have your requirements, and you now find that at some point you're asked to come up with the design, maybe using Excel, using Visio, using PowerPoint, Microsoft Power BI, and you find that the requirements almost fit in directly with the design. Don't forget that by definition, requirements focus on needs, design focuses on solution. So there's a very thin line. And what happens is if you leverage your requirements, you come up with a solution, and you present that as designs. If you further analyze the design, you can uncover some more requirements. So that's why I have these two arrows. So there's an arrow that fits in and fits out. Requirements fit into designs, design fits into design. So you can leverage requirements, come up with designs. Then when you further consider those designs, you can uncover new, fresh requirements and use that to create even more detailed designs. So there's a very thin line there, and something that I think is worth knowing. So yes, okay, I've already touched on this. So although requirements are focused on needs, while designs are focused on solutions, as a business analyst, okay, so as business analysts work on initiative advances, the lines between requirements and design begin to blur. The lines between requirements and design begin to blur. Now, the recommended solution attempts to fulfill the demand of requirements, and it is further presented in the form of designs. Now, continued evaluation of designs bring to bear new or improved requirements, which go on to inform more detailed design. So, like you said, it's fits in and fit out, and fits out. Requirements to designs, designs back into requirements, requirements back into more detailed designs. And that's it's a cycle. So let me give you some examples, and so this is an example. I'd like for you to look at this for a minute and kind of digest it. So it's example one. The need is the desire to deploy data-backed market insights. That's the need. So it's a company, ABC and Sons, and you found out that you're not making as much money as you could make. Maybe you went to some conference with other guys in the industry. So ABC and Sons, why are you not using data to come up with insights, come up with ideas for your business? Then we go back to the office and ask the guys, why are we not using deploying data to uncover market insights? That's a need. And the requirement here is to get and analyze historical data for a period of six months. That's the requirement. Now, what is the solution? Glean insights from historical data. Now, if you get to design now is market intervention scenarios. We create scenarios on visual, on blacksmith, on using different tools. Market intervention scenarios based on outcome of analysis of 6-month data. So you see now that it's very thin line. So the requirement says that get and analyze 6-month data. The design says that create market scenarios, market intervention scenarios based on your analysis of 6 months data. So now there's a very thin line there now. You almost gloss out. You see? Now, the second example is the need is the desire to increase staff effectiveness for cost optimization. Now, the requirement is gather input from existing data, elicit relevant information from stakeholders. So you find out that you are losing money. Maybe you have 100 members of staff, then you hear that your competitor has 70, and they made more money than you did last year, and they made more money in the past 3 years than you have done. So you know that you need to increase your staff effectiveness to optimize costs. Of course, as people who do business, we know that there are two ways to increase your revenue. Either you cut costs or you increase sales. So now in this case, you want to increase staff effectiveness to optimize costs. Now, what's the requirement? Gather input from existing data, elicit information from stakeholders. Now, solution: web application that logs staff work hours, compares this with business outcomes, and outputs the performance index. So we want to have like a web application that says, okay, you log staff work hours. Staff A has come to work at 9 a.m. and they stayed at work till 4 p.m. They now compare those with business outcomes and output the performance index for each staff. That's the solution that you're proposing as the analyst. Now, what's the design? You use case diagrams, process diagrams, activity maps, detailing solution implementation milestones. Now, you see there's a thin line now. The requirement says you should gather inputs from data and elicit information from stakeholders. Now, the design now present this information in form of use case diagrams, activity maps. So the same things you got at the requirement stage, I think you are presenting in the design stage. So I said all of this to further open your eyes, to further drive home the assertion that the thin line between requirements and design, and it happens in industry, it happens almost every day. I think it's worth knowing, and it's worth understanding. So let me speak a little to stakeholder engagement techniques. I think that's where we'll end the slide today before we go back to the case study. Stakeholder engagement techniques. I'll just run through them. So here are some techniques, some elicitation techniques. So this is the word elicitation. I'm sure that Mr. Kingsley took you through this today. The word elicit means to draw out. So now, this way it works. If you're engaging stakeholders, you're asking questions, you're conducting interviews, you're sending out questionnaires. It's your job as somebody who does business analysis work to elicit information, and you're drawing it out. Now, people will not give information for the sake of giving it. So you have to elicit information, and there are ways to do it. So, of course, there are so many ways, probably 100 ways, but I just said 4 here that they're quite relevant and popular. First is brainstorming. How do you engage stakeholders? Brainstorming. So you've been asked to recommend solutions for, of course, for the bottleneck with the businesses canteen service. Then you walk up to the canteen managers, or probably have some meeting with them. And you ask them, how do you think you can solve this problem? Matter of fact, what you will do as a business analyst in the real world, a lot of times is asking questions, getting information. If you've asked questions, you've gotten answers, you go and synthesize those answers. You come back to ask you more questions. You schedule meetings, and you brainstorm, you take notes, you articulate your thoughts, you find the problem. Questions, talking, just engaging people, engagement. Now, brainstorming. So you call the stakeholders and you brainstorm with them. You ask them, how can we solve this problem? How do you think we can solve this problem? Then second is interviews. So in some organizations, you can actually hold interviews, like formal interviews, officially. Say, because I want to hear from you. How can this be resolved? Then mind mapping. We'll dive deeper into this next class. In document analysis. So document analysis is actually, it's interesting because a lot of times because of the failures of continuity in businesses, in governments, people spend money and companies spend money gathering information that already exists. So that's what brings us to business analysis. When you're working on an initiative, it's important to know what documents you already have. What has been done in the past? Do you have projects? Do you have lessons learned from past projects? Do you have purchase orders from past projects? Do you have process maps from past projects? Is there a way you can edit some of the information from existing documents? So we'll dive deeper into this next week. So I just want to do this so we can go back to the case study and take it further. So now let's talk about advantages and objectives. So it's important for us also to not just assume that the solution we're recommending will solve the problem. We should take it a deeper dive and list and say, so what we have today is this. What we intend to do is that. So now we have listed the advantages of the canteen ordering system. Number one is employees have more productive time. Clearly. So if you're saving the business 60 minutes a day, so what it means is you're saving 60 minutes for one person times 1,500. Imagine that can easily translate to billions of USD in productive time. So employees have more productive time. The canteen operations are better structured and more efficient. Employees can place orders irrespective of physical location. Employees can make preferred choices of meal. So these are the advantages. The objectives, us. Again, the thin line. Increase productive time, increase revenue for business, forecast future food item requirements based on historical records and customer feedback, reduce wastage. Now, let me say this. We would probably be running off in a bit, but I want to speak something here. Now, what we had before was a problem, but I want to see how the business has been able to find an opportunity to accentuate in this problem. So look at this. Now we have problems of employees wasting a lot of time, productive time. Yeah, but business now has found a way to, they found a way to uncover an opportunity. Now they want to increase revenue for the business. Now that wasn't the problem at the beginning. The problem was to, of course, to save time, to get employees to be more productive. But now they can actually increase revenue because there are members of staff who would not, who before now wouldn't be using the service because, of course, it's not efficient, it's tiring, you get to queue, probably go elsewhere to buy food. But now, because it's a system that works, you can actually increase the revenue from food. So yes, initially it was a problem. Like I've said, a need can either be a problem or opportunity. It was a problem, but they want to look for opportunity to accentuate. So a lot of times this happens, or it happens in the real world where you set out trying to solve a problem, but while you're at it, you uncover an opportunity to be exploited as well. So set your objectives. I want us to, I will not run through the solutions. I will allow everyone has to try their hands on this. This is practical class. I will leave my co-facilitator, Mr. Kinsey, to take you through the knowledge areas, the techniques, all of that. But I will just touch on those concepts if you need to apply them in the case study. That's how I intend to do this. So by the time you're done with this 4 week, 8 week course, you're well grounded in the concepts and the theoretical part. And you can also attempt to deliver value as a business analyst in the real world. So what I want us to do now, I will allow everybody else to try their hands on this. I'm going to share a solution template with you after this call. Then you try your hands on this and send your submissions to my email, adekunle@sourcing.business. That's the only way, because you learn by doing. So I've taken you to half of the solution. So now, based on what we've discussed, what you've learned, what you understand of business analysis, I want you to come up with your own solutions. And I'd like for that to come in good time so I can review before the next class. Let me see. How many of us are here? Okay. I want to see if I can break this up into groups. Okay. What you were saying, yeah, or yeah, Philip Adesina. Mr. Philip, you're joined in twice. Okay, so I will drop the solution template on the WhatsApp group, and I would you can always chat me up. You can DM if you need any clarification, if you have any confusions you'd like me to address. You can always chat me up. Somebody called me during the week. So it's fine. You can always chat me up. Come to my DM. Let's talk about this. So, do you have any questions? Any questions? Any worries you'd like me to answer? Come at me, please. Any questions? Mr. Philip, Madam Ujunwa, any question? Hello, ask me questions.
Yeah, well done, sir. Yeah. For now, no question. Maybe by the time I go through the solution stuff again, we have any question I have, and I will get in touch with you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Questions, contributions, some confusions you'd like us to address here?
No, I don't have any question. Just I don't know your voice. I'm not getting everything. I don't know whether it's from my own end.
My voice was not loud. Was it not loud?
No, it was loud, but it was cracking a bit. Like I'll get some words, I don't get
Okay.
some other
I always tell me if there's a line you don't hear, you can always come at anything. I'll go over it. It's fine. If you don't hear
Okay,
anything, just come at
thank you.
attention. Go over it. Yeah. Thank you for that feedback. Okay, so we intend to
Um, I have
engage.
something to
Okay,
say, sir. Um,
okay,
Mr.
go ahead.
Dekunle. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
like Uju just said now, I'm also having the same issue. And most times I want to
Okay,
like go back to the recorded class, but it doesn't. Most times, I notice that they don't drop it on time. It comes towards the
okay,
end of the week. I don't know if we can improve on that. That after this class, we can quickly go back to a recorded class. It will surely help us. I don't know if
okay.
that
It's
will be
fine. Thank
possible
you.
this
Thank you.
time.
Thank you. I'll also speak with. I will speak with the team, and we'll ensure that we drop the recordings in good time. Thank you. So, anybody else? Bolu,
No question from my end for now.
okay. So, I was saying that we intend to engage some people as interns after this. Can you mute, please? We're getting some. So, we intend to engage some interns from this class. So, of course, it's an unpaid internship just for. Of course, maybe you get a stipend, but we intend to recruit some interns from this class at the end of the module. If you're interested, you can come to my DM and we'll schedule an interview. So thank you everyone for the time. I have to get off early today. I'll share the I'll share the case solution template in the group. I want everybody to try your hands on it. Please try your hands on the case. I'd like to see your submissions.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Okay, when you say hands on it, is there any software you're going to use for it? I don't know. Will you be joining the question with what you want to share? Because I didn't get any clue. I don't know what we are looking for.
Okay.
Eh,
So there's a case study that we're reviewing. Can you hear me?
yes, I can. I can.
Okay, we're reviewing a case study. Did you go through the case study? I sent it to everyone last week.
Yes, yes, I went through it.
Okay, so you went through the case study. Now, if you look at the case study, there's a portion where we're asked to answer questions. There's a task session where you should ask some questions, list the stakeholders, talk about the advantages of the new system, talk about the current state and the future state. These are the tasks. Now, what I
Okay.
require of you is to take your time to answer those tasks based on, of course, all that we've learned, all that we've discussed. Yeah, so I will share the templates for the solution. I'll share with you afterwards. Share the group afterwards. And you can try and answer it. Is that clear now, Ujima?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any confusions that we need to address? Anybody else? Okay, I'll take that as a no, and you can call it a day. Like I said, always reach out to me. You can come to my DM, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you, and have a good evening. Enjoy.